All right, Oddings, before we get into today's episode, I wanted to really quickly tell you about one of our sponsors who, without them, the show would not be possible. This one's going to be a little personal. So my boobs are basically non-existent, which means finding swimsuits and formal dresses that fit up top has always been impossible, and finding a bra that actually fits is an absolute nightmare. So when I heard about Third Love, I was a little bit skeptical. They claim to have the most comfortable bras that fit all different types of shapes and sizes, so let me tell you how it went. So first, I took the online Fit Finder quiz. It's basically just a short series of questions that asks you about your breast shape. So for me, my boobs are uneven, like most women's, and Third Love recommended the classic contour plunge bra because it has memory foam inserts to even out my boobs, and I was not disappointed. Not only did it fit me really well, but the band is super soft and stretchy, the straps don't slip, and there's no itchy tag. Third Love is so confident that you'll love your new bra that they give you 60 days to wear it and wash it, and if you still don't love it, you can return or exchange it for free. Third Love knows there's a perfect bra for everyone. So right now they're offering Something Scary listeners 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/ss to find your perfect fitting bra, like I did.
Hey, I'm Sapphire.
Want to hear something scary? The Messenger. The following story was inspired by a submission from Victor. This is a story his grandfather told him. Victor's grandfather, Ricardo, used to work as a mail and message man. This was back when people communicated primarily through letters or Morse code. Because not everyone was literate, he was hired by people who needed someone to write their letters for them. Sometimes he'd be called to read aloud letters that had been received. One day, he received an urgent request from his employer via Morse code. Family needs your immediate assistance reading a letter. Double pay. It was the middle of the night and the address was at least an hour walk away, but Ricardo was fine with it if it meant more money. So he put on his coat, grabbed a lantern, and headed out. It was pretty chilly that night. The wind was gently whistling, the crickets were softly singing, and the only light was from the moon and Ricardo's lantern. He decided to take a shortcut through the wooded area of the town. The trees blocked out most of the moonlight, but Ricardo wasn't afraid of the dark. He had been walking for about 10 minutes when he noticed a very small, flickering light up ahead. Curious to know what it was, Ricardo picked up speed towards the light. As he came closer, he saw a handsome, sharply dressed, middle-aged man trying to light a cigarette. "Hey," the man called to him. "Want to give me a hand?" Ricardo walked up to the man and shielded his cigarette so that the flame wouldn't go out. He stunk of tequila. "You probably shouldn't be smoking," Ricardo mentioned. The man looked at him with a smile. "You sound just like my wife. What are you doing out here in the middle of the night anyway?" "I could ask you the same thing," Ricardo said, bluntly. He was never one to shy away from expressing his thoughts. The man chuckled and held out his hand and introduced himself as Javier. He gestured with his cigarette. "What the wife doesn't know won't hurt her. So, where are you headed?" "The street by the old church." "I'm headed that way too. I'll walk with you." And so the two men began to walk side by side. Javier was very chatty and opened up to Ricardo. He confessed that he had gotten himself into a very bad situation and owed a lot of terrible people a lot of money. But tomorrow he was going to confront the boss and negotiate a deal. There was a pretty high chance it would not end well. Ricardo asked him if his family knew about any of this, and Javier laughed. "My wife thinks I'm a traveling salesman. If she ever found out where our money actually came from, whew, I'm a dead man." They reached the church and Ricardo spotted the house he was looking for. It was a modest home, surrounded by a low fence covered in unique decorations Ricardo had never seen the likes of before. As he knocked on the door, Ricardo had completely forgotten about his companion, but when he turned around to say goodbye, Javier had already left. The door was opened by a small boy who led him inside. There, he was greeted by a visibly upset woman. The inside of the house was decorated with even more strange amulets and charms. The woman thanked him for coming at such a late hour and shoved a letter in his hands. Ricardo read the first line out loud. To the family of Javier Garcia. He paused. He silently read the rest of the letter to himself. With every word, his eyes grew wider and wider. His heart dropped deeper and deeper. Your husband is a worthless piece of shit. He's now underground where he belongs. And if you don't send the rest of the money he owes us, you'll join him too. Ricardo stared in total disbelief at the page in front of him. The woman was pestering Ricardo to read the letter aloud. He turned to Javier's family and said, "Your husband is fine. He was sent on a last-minute, very important trip. It won't be long before you see him again. I'm sorry, I have to go. Good night." Ricardo left the house with a knot in his stomach. The family was in danger, but he just couldn't bring himself to tell them the truth and ruin their image of Javier. Once he reached the fence, he found Javier was standing just on the other side, but he no longer looked clean-cut and put together. His face was battered and bruised, his suit drenched in blood and sweat. His limbs were contorted in horrific ways. He saw Ricardo and lifted his unlit cigarette with his mutilated arm. "Hey, want to give me a hand?" Thank you to all of our patrons. If you'd like to join our VIP program, visit patreon.com/snarled. Want more Something Scary? You can hear more stories over on the Something Scary podcast, available for free on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. The links are in the description below. If you'd like to submit a story, send me an email at somethingscary@snarled.com. Like and share this video if it gave you the chills. And don't forget to subscribe to Snarled and turn on the bell for notifications. And if you dare, follow me on social media. Until next time, sweet dreams.